Hey everyone, Andy here, live again from the Charlywood, luxurious Charlywood dungeons here in Vienna, Austria. And I'm joined today for the second episode of Charlytalk by Mr. Mark Peters.
Hello.
Here he is. Put a nice round of applause and excited. Possibly Kermit the Frog freaking out at the front. That one, we'll do that. Yeah, exciting times. Mark, thanks very much for coming in.
Lovely to be here.
There was nothing I could do to force you, so it's very nice. I have no power over you. Absolutely. Unlike Levi, because I know where he lives. Yeah, so you are a singer-songwriter.
Indeed.
Also from England,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll let you pick it up from there. Possibly tell us a bit about the musical background and include why the dickens you are in Vienna, like me.
It's a long story.
Okay.
Well, let me start from, I started learning guitar about 13, 14 maybe.
Mm-hmm. Had
a couple of friends that wanted to form a band. At the time I was big into the Beatles and all that kind of 60s stuff. Started to kind of pick up a guitar and learn the very basic chords. My dad's also a musician, so there's always guitars around the house and things to play.
And they didn't force you to play an instrument as a small child?
I did have a few guitar lessons when I was about 10, but I didn't like it. Didn't like it at all, kind of classical guitar stuff. And at the time, I just didn't really get into it. It was only kind of, a bit later on I started to want to pick it up. And
classical guitar's the wrong approach for a small boy, isn't it?
Just
You've got to rock them out.
Absolutely, yeah. But I started learning guitar, and then I realised I wanted to be a lead guitarist in this first band. We were playing like rock and roll covers, like Chuck Berry and 12-bar blues and all this old kind of 50s and 60s stuff as well. And I was a terrible lead guitarist, and I wasn't a particularly good guitarist either, so I ended up picking up the bass, first of all. So I was a bass player until I was about 18, 19, I think. I played in this kind of covers band with, like I said, with this couple of friends, and then with my elder brother, who was playing guitar. I was still kind of, strumming around and just like doing the basic stuff and learning a few songs, and the more I played, the more I started to really enjoy the guitar actually. So from about the age of about 20, I kind of was getting a bit better at guitar, and I formed a band with a friend of mine that I met at work. And yeah, we found 2 more guys and eventually 3 more guys. So we were 2 guitarists, a singer, a bass player, and a drummer. And we started my first proper band, which was 7 Breaths in London.
Right, I have to confess, this is my terrible interviewing technique. I'm trying to listen to you and think about the next thing I want to say at the same time. It's surprisingly difficult, this interviewing lot.
Isn't it just?
And in that moment, I missed where you explained why you stopped playing the bass guitar.
Well, I think I did actually, when I first got together with this friend when I was about 19, the guy I met at work, name's Ashley, and I went round to his house and I had a bass guitar, and I was actually intending to play bass, and we played a couple of tunes and they sounded nice. Him on kind of lead guitar, me on bass. All original stuff, his songs actually. And he said, "Well, look, why don't you pick up a guitar and let's try some guitar parts out as well." Mm-hmm. And I did, and it worked even better. So from there on, I became the kind of second guitarist.
Okay, the rhythm guy.
Pretty much so, yeah.
Disengage this snare, because it's not going to go well if you do any singing. So
that was it. That was the story.
That's the acoustic guitar. There was something else I wanted to ask you about that. Man, interviews. What was it? Bloody snare distracted me. I blame the snare. Oh yeah. Do you think? So you were pursuing music in a fairly serious way, pretty much from the get-go, right? You were pretty seriously into it.
I always loved it. I loved to play.
Mm-hmm.
Even from my late teens, I started to write very, very simple songs on guitar. Even when I was playing bass, I probably wrote my first song at about 16 with a friend of mine. Then my first solo original song about 19, and yeah, then I studied animation at university, and I kind of realised towards the last year that when I finished uni, I actually wanted to pursue more music rather than go into kind of the art side of things. So when I finished uni at about 21, I think I was, then we had a discussion with the other guys in the band, and we decided to take things a bit more seriously. So of course we all had part-time jobs, and we continued with that, but we started to practice a lot more, started to do some kind of like home recordings, do a few more gigs.
Demos.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of went from there pretty much. So, but by that point I knew that I really wanted to be a musician.
And was there a key event, which was the case for me, where you went, oh shit, I could do this, like I could get used to doing this?
Good question. I think there was more events that made me think you should not be doing this,
Okay.
you know. But
and still you were not discouraged originally.
no, I mean I just loved it. I loved to write, and I loved to play, especially with other people as well, you know. Probably just the very first few performances I had with the band, you know, and just seeing how people reacted to the songs we were making, the songs we were creating, and I just love that feeling, you know, of you know, creating something completely new and
Sure.
really bringing people into kind of, you know, this world that you're forming through music, and
Exactly, yeah.
that definitely made me want to carry on, you know.
Well, that's what music making, especially in the popular branch, I would say, that's what it's all about. I think the human animal responds very well to group experiences.
Absolutely.
Feeling an emotion as a large group,
Mm-hmm.
that releases a lot of brain chemicals in a human
Definitely.
being. So that's why audiences who go to a lot of live music, that's what they're looking for. That's
Yeah,
the hit
of course.
that they're looking for.
The group
And
experience.
yeah, getting involved in that, I mean, that's a major motivator for me as well.
Sure thing.
And
yeah.
do you think it helped a lot that your dad was a pro? Was he a pro, did you say?
I mean, he's been a musician for pretty much all his life.
Is still a pro.
Yeah, still plays. I think there was always music in the house. Always, you know, there was always guitars around, keyboards. It was always there, and I think that kind of encouraged. I mean, I've got 3 brothers, and they all play, and a sister who also started playing at some
Hey,
point.
super musical family.
So yeah, so we all just kind of pick things up and just used to mess around in the guitar and so forth. You know?
So that very much gave you the message from childhood that being a musician seriously is a proper thing to do with
Precisely.
your life.
Yeah, it's okay to do it, you know.
Very strongly
course, yeah.
encouraging, because there's a lot of parents out there,
For sure.
they're horrified when their young teenagers
Be a
think-
lawyer, be a doctor.
Ugh,
You know,
for
what
goodness
are you
sake.
doing?
What are you doing,
No
boy?
money in that.
There's no money in the drums. Yeah, I mean that's a story I heard
Yeah,
with the guys that I studied music with. Like,
Mm.
there were a lot of conversations that needed to
Yeah,
be had.
of course.
It sounds like you're pretty lucky that they were behind you all the way. And
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I'd say so. Quite supportive.
which leads us to the next question: what brings you to Vienna?
Well, my eldest brother moved out here good few years before me, about 10 years before me,
Yeah.
and I'd come here on holidays, just like the city, like the vibe. And when I turned 30, I was actually I was a guitar teacher, and I loved the job. You know, it was fantastic company and everything else. But I just wanted to change from London actually, and I came out here initially for a year, just to take a year off work and see how it went, and ended up liking it so much. So I just stayed.
You're a Vienna guy.
Yeah.
Just like the vibe.
Yeah, exactly. That was it.
Because most of the native speakers I know have been chasing a lady or a gentleman.
Yeah, that can happen as well.
Accordingly.
Yeah, that can happen as well.
That's the
That's,
typical story.
yeah, it's a
You
normal
just came
story,
to
isn't it?
Vienna and checked out and went, yeah,
I like it here.
this is
Nice.
my town.
Yeah,
Cool.
cool vibe.
Yeah. All right, I have to look at my questions are down here. Full disclosure, I didn't trust myself to not forget any, so I'm going to have a quick look at them. Right, I asked you that. That's good. I asked you that as well. It's going very well. Ah, yeah. Let's get into the music questions.
Okay.
I've been refreshing my memory. Oh, that's something we should mention. No, backpedal. Come on, think it through. What projects have you been doing recently, Mark?
Well, that's a good question.
Classic plug.
In,
Set you up. Go.
In October, I released my very first debut EP. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a 6-song EP called Spirits, and yeah,
Proper
it was
good.
Yeah, it was. Thanks. It was a bit of a dream to actually get something finally released, because we never released officially in my old band in London. So I was working on that for about 6 months in Audio Heart Studios in Vienna with Dan Fisher, who produced it. And the results, I was really pleased with the results, really pleased with the EP.
As you should be. It sounds right tasty.
Thanks very much, man. And now this year, just planning to tour and promote it, really. Doing a few dates in the UK in February, and hopefully, visa permitting, possibly going abroad to another few places, possibly the States, and then a European tour for late summertime.
Not messing around.
It's got to be done.
Straight to it. So what was it that motivated you to spend the time, and I'm assuming money, to get a pro recording done? Like, I've just done it as well. We've done it with Charlywood. We spent ludicrous amounts of money making a really nice sounding
Not
record.
cheap, is it?
Nah. Getting it done properly is not cheap. And, you know, you, like Charlywood, I think it's fair to say that neither of us are exactly high profile. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we both invested the time and money in making a record, a pro level recording, with no guarantee that it would lead to us making our money back from the record.
Yeah.
So try to help the viewer. I mean, I get it, but try and help our viewers perhaps understand what it is that motivates a chap to do something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
Definitely. I mean, the first thing was I had probably from the EP about 5 of the songs are quite old. They're songs I actually wrote in my 20s, and having never officially released them, I really wanted to get them down, you know, because I knew them well, but no one else did. So I wanted to have them available for people to listen to. Secondly, I think without a professional production, if you want to make a career as a singer-songwriter, as a musician, or as a band, you need a good production as a calling card. You know, you need to be able to, you know, if you go somewhere, you meet a promoter or a new producer or a booking agent, it's important that you have that behind you, I think. So, you know, they have something to work with as well. So for me, it was not only artistic, but it was also a professional step to try and get to that next level of the kind of musical ladder, one would say. Right.
Yeah, makes sense. And it's, again, coming back to the brain chemistry, when you hear a song of yours recorded, mixed and mastered up to tip-top standard, I mean, that's some brain chemicals.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Working with a producer, I remember when we went to Slovenia the first time, that was our first time in a proper studio. We had a producer engineer working with us. I mean, he was mostly an engineer, but he did a bit of production as well. And we'd record something, and we'd come down the next morning because we slept upstairs in the studio. And he'd just done some basic tinkering with it. And I gave him a rough idea, you know, what I wanted it to sound like. But you come downstairs then, and he plays the mix through those massive studio speakers that they always have. And your expectations are,
you're like, wow,
exceeded.
This sounds great, you know. Yeah,
like,
of course.
You can get addicted to that, I'm sure. That's dangerous. Shouldn't be allowed. Shouldn't be allowed. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the motivation. I think that's a big motivation. Okay, so you are not messing around. Spirits is the EP.
Indeed.
I would encourage our viewers to pause YouTube now and go and listen to it on, how would you prefer that?
Spotify.
Spotify is your preferred platform. You can listen to it for freezies on Spotify, for goodness sake. Do yourselves a favour. Go and do that now. We'll wait. Freeze frame. Okay. Welcome back. Huh? Was I lying when I said it was good? You can trust me on these things. So, now the viewers have hopefully listened to a few tracks. Let's get into your... I'd like to start with your guitar style, because I think it is interesting. How would you describe your guitar technique?
Good question. I'm self-taught, so I never really had any formal training. So I just kind of used to, I mean, I knew the basic chords, and then I used to try and just add new voicings to them, just trying new things out and experimenting. And then I just started to find certain chord voicings that I quite liked, and they kind of started to creep in to my songwriting more, I'd say. What also helped was when I became a guitar teacher. My first interview, I went there and I played guitar for an interview, and I was told that I wasn't quite good enough. You know, I was a good guitarist, but you know, to teach classical guitar or rock guitar formally, then I needed to go away and do some training. So
grow your fingernails out.
Absolutely, yeah. I tried my hardest, never worked. It's got dirty all the time. But yeah, I learned some classical techniques, and I learned how to read music, and it was kind of like working backwards for me, because I knew a lot of. I didn't know on guitar what I was doing at the time, but then when I learnt the formal training, I could kind of see why it was working, you know, with certain chord progressions and so forth. So I kind of more got into a finger picking style, and started to put the plectrum down a little bit, and generally now I play pretty much finger picking.
Yeah. Could you, am I putting you on the spot? You let me know, but could you lay the intro to track 1, Memories, right?
Sure, yeah.
Could you just lay that on us, because it's got some pretty... Okay, so you're doing some hammering on there.
Yeah.
Finger picking, some harmonics, some slides.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of
double, like hammering off as well.
Yeah, a little bit. Kind of bringing a lot of techniques into kind of one little riff, pretty much. So yeah, I really enjoy playing with harmonics and playing with a lot of kind of added ninths and added seconds on my chords as well, and that sort of thing. You know? So yeah.
G Major called me the other day, and she wants to know why you never touch her anymore.
I do sometimes.
What have you got against?
One of my favourite chords, I must say.
You've been playing G Major's on the record.
It is indeed.
Because I mean, okay, I didn't pay super close attention, but I was like, when's he just going to play a D for the love of? It's all kinds of fancy chords.
You can never neglect the simple chords. Never can. Never can.
Okay, so there was a bit of that going on.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. So that's the chords. Looking at my questions again. Did that. It's going very well.
Pat on the back.
Oh, it's going very well. Yeah, gear.
Gear.
Some musicians are interested in that.
Sure.
Are you particularly?
Yeah, to a certain extent. When it comes down to effects, I do use some. With acoustic guitar, I'm more of a purist, I guess. I just have a very simple pedal board. I haven't got it with me, but I have a delay, compressor from Earthquake Devices. Delays are DD6 from Boss. I have a Pog Nano Octave, which is nice for some of the riffy stuff, and just to kind of, for some songs and choruses, just to fill out just a little bit of extra bass on it, just to kind of fill out the chords and give your guitar a fatter sound. And I've got a Boss harmonics pedal, which kind of sounds a bit like an organ sometimes when you use it. I don't use it much, but yeah, now and then for a kind of certain effect. Guitar-wise, I'm playing a Martin, an OMX C1KE, which is got I think a mahogany top and a compressed wood neck. They're not quite as expensive as the official Martins, but when I played it, I loved it. It sounds great when it's plugged in. So yeah, what can I say?
For playing in bars and coffee shops and stuff.
For sure, yeah.
What's the?
It's got just a Fishman.
I've heard good things.
Precis.
That makes sense. That Ibanez, it makes sense.
No, it's a Fishman.
Fishman's a Fishman.
Yeah, Fishman's a Fishman, basically. Yeah, just got a piezo pickup in there. I believe the necks are slightly bit wider than you get on an average acoustic guitar, but kind of suits me because I was playing a lot of nylon string at one point, and neck was a bit wider. So yeah, quite liked.
Less to get used to.
Yeah, that aspect of things, you know.
Right, we need to start wrapping up part 1, but stick with us because I believe Mark has given us the strong impression that he might be prepared to sing us a song at the end of this. It's a very distinct possibility. So, as usual, the magic of editing, no time shall pass for you, and then we'll carry on because there's a couple more things I want to know about songwriting, and then we'll maybe ask you to play us out with a nice tune. Join us for part 2 now. And we're back! I made another classic interview error because I asked you about your unusual chords, and logically it would have then been, the next question would have been, tell us please about the songwriting process. How does a typical Mark Peters song come to be?
I'm not a very quick songwriter,
Okay.
I must say. I normally get a guitar part first if I'm messing around a guitar, which I quite like, and then I'll try and sing some kind of melody over it. I normally use like holding lyrics, so it could be anything, you know. Then yeah,
Sorry, but you do use real lyrics when you're mucking about at the beginning.
yeah,
You use real words?
yeah.
Okay.
But there could be just nonsense lyrics, you know, just repeating the same line over again, just to kind of get a melody and, in some respects, like solidify that in my head so I remember it. And then after that, if you know, I'll be maybe messing around with sometimes like, you know, 7 or 8 songs at a time, and I'll play them over a couple of weeks, and eventually one will just start to be played more, and I'll start to get some idea about where I want the song to go, what I want it to be about. I kind of base the lyrics, I guess, on how the song makes me feel, you know, in terms of the music of it and the melody of it. And then after about 2 years, depends, sometimes shorter, but often it can be quite long. It's definitely getting quicker now, but it takes me a while. Then I start to write lyrics, and eventually I have this kind of song that I've formed. But the weird thing is for me, and I don't know how you feel about this, but you know, the first time you play a song live, even though you feel it may be finished and ready, it seems to be that is the first time actually that you really then start to look at it and go, right, I need to finish this song off. I need to really complete it.
Absolutely. I mean, you've given me a brilliant cue to plug an upcoming YouTube video, because I have already done a version of Make It Stronger off the second album, and since I recorded that video, which will be released fairly soon, I've again come to think, oh yeah, actually I could do that a bit different. Like, sure, it was finished from the respect of, you know,
it's recorded.
The melody's there, the chords are there, you know what's happening after what.
Mm-hmm.
But then you feel it in a room with the people, and it feels, like you can feel what needs to happen or what needs to get dropped. And it's not normally like major changes fundamentally to the structure of the song, but yeah, it does sound different. And we're going to do, like with Charlywood, we'll be doing like covers, no, not covers, but versions of our own tracks, and stuff has already changed since we recorded the album. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's
like an organic process, isn't it? You know,
sure.
The song is never really finished.
No,
whether or not it's
especially
recorded.
If you're playing live a lot.
Absolutely, yeah. Of course.
Oh yeah, and you mentioned lyrics. I wanted to ask you about that. I listened to the lyrics today because I did a bit of a revision of the EP to get ready, and I got an impression about, and I've got a guess about how you do lyrics, but I want to ask you, and then I can always say that I was right, even if I was wrong, so it's good. Yeah, what is the approach to, how shall I ask you, how explicit in what you are singing about do you like to get in a song?
Yeah, I think the songs are generally pretty autobiographical.
Mm-hmm.
They're generally about things that I've been through or about things I've experienced. So I try not to be too, I guess you could say, too transparent about the lyrics. I like to, I guess, to be sometimes metaphorical, or to allow the listener to work a little bit, to think about what the song's about.
Yeah, and I think that's a part of what music consumption as a listener is about. Like, you've got to leave the listener a space to make the song
themselves, kind of thing.
Their experience of the song is just as important. I mean, more important if they bloody bought it. Their experience is more important than what you maybe were thinking or feeling.
Agreed, yeah.
So you try and keep it vague enough,
yeah,
but not too vague, so people get the general idea and they can fill in the gaps themselves.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because there are people that do like full-on chronological stories with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Of course.
Like telling a situation. Don't think I've really done that on the album either. Tried to keep it relatively vague. Oh no, haircuts fairly. I mean, that's pretty
direct.
Yeah. That's pretty. It's also super daft. But
no, for sure. I mean, I guess, like, you know, there are some songs of mine as well which are more direct than others, but generally, yeah, I like to play around with lyrics quite a lot.
Yeah. No, because I got the impression that you like to really leave quite a lot of space. Like you're using words that have emotional connections, and you're stringing them together in ways that evoke emotions. But actually, a lot of the time, I got the impression, I mean, it's really not even how someone would speak. It's quite creative in the way that you combine words. You're not fussed about rhyming, I noticed. And it's very, very, it's like very creative, your approach to, to language use, in the sense of you just want it to emote, you want to press particular buttons. I mean, that's the impression that I got.
Of course, yeah. I think, that's one of the privileges of writing songs, is that you can, you can interpret the language you're writing in whichever way you want. You can be as artistic as you want, as direct, as transparent, as vague. It all comes down to it's all about the song and how the message of that complete piece gets across. So yeah, you've got to just use your own style, I think, when you're doing anything in that respect.
Yeah, you come to it in a way how you're gonna write lyrics, but I think you take something away from people as well if you give them too much. Like if you tell them what the answer is before they've even had a chance to decide for themselves. I mean, some people like it. Rappers, of course, they nearly always do it. They're exactly telling you what's up, and it's a slightly different thing, of course, to songwriting. But yeah, it's a different approach, certainly. Right, I have to go and look at my questions again. Did that. That went very well, that question. I was really pleased with that question. Oh yeah, so while we're at songs, that leads us to the performance, as you already mentioned, in the live situation. You tried to get me there, but I didn't take the bait. What was that? It was good. You were being a good interviewee there. You tried to leave because you knew I wanted to ask you about that. Live situations.
Yeah.
When you're writing a song, do you, as you're writing it, think, okay, how's this going to come across live? Or do you just disappear into songwriting world and you think, okay, how do I feel about this and how am I going to write it and feel about it, and then worry about the live situation later?
I think both. I think
as a general rule.
Yeah, no, of course.
I'm sure it changes from song to song.
I think generally, you start off in songwriting mode in your own environment, your own kind of universe almost. Then when a song takes more form, for me anyway, then I do start to think about how best I would perform that song to show it in its best light, one would say. So yeah, I do always think a little bit about, how not of the audience will like it, because it's important that first and foremost that you like what you're doing as any artist. Sure. You like your songs, but I think I do. It's definitely does stay in my mind about how, how I would best perform that song to get the best results, or to bring it across to the audience in a way that I want them to perceive it. Sure.
But that's the thing about being an artist, is you create the art, and the art is objectively what it is. You sang the notes you sang and the lyrics that you sang, you played the chords that you played. The song is what it is, it's done.
Yeah.
Some people are going to think it's wicked. Some people are not going to like it. Some people are going to actively hate it, possibly even. Yeah. You have no control over this.
Interpretation, isn't it? Yeah.
You've just got to decide how you feel about it. And I mean, there's plenty of people in the world, I'm sure, who think that your entire EP is choice, as I do. And
some people think
everyone in Charlywood agrees, but I'm sure, I mean, with my music as well, with anybody's.
Yeah.
There are some people who go, oh, leave me alone with that.
Turn it off.
Oh, more sad music. No, leave me alone. Yeah, that's the way it is. Okay, so it's really first and foremost. And did you, I think you already said you did. You sang all the songs live quite a lot before you recorded this EP, right?
Yeah.
So we're really, on the EP, we're listening to the finished, live played, adjusted version.
For sure.
How much do you adjust?
When I'm playing live?
No, you write the song, you play live before you record the song.
Okay.
How much do they change as a result of your live experience of those songs?
I would say substantially.
Yeah?
Yeah. For me, I mean, you kind of start with a song you're playing, and you have maybe this great chorus you think you have, and you play it and it doesn't really work. You think, well, why not? Why didn't anyone get it? And then you kind of go back and you play it again, and you rework it, and you try it again, and this time it does work. I mean, it can also be, of course, like dependent on the venue and the audience, but I think for me, the more I play a song, the more I have an idea about what's working and what's not. And if I think something's not working in it, in terms of like the structure, for instance, maybe it's too long, or the chorus is in the wrong place, or maybe it needs a transition between a verse and chorus, or it could be anything. But yeah, that kind of gets worked in to the songs, and then when I feel it's getting the response that that I want it to get, then of course, then I guess it's ready to record. Put down.
Yeah, quite a few tracks off the album we didn't play live at all until we recorded them. In fact, the gig that we're playing next week, Friday the 19th in Cramladen, ladies and gents, link in the description, that's going to be the first time live performance of some of the tracks, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, because we were just in album recording mode. Like, I was composing, we were working, producing up the tracks.
Sure. I mean, I think they
haven't been aired at all. I
think it can work that way as well. You can also.
We'll see.
Exactly. Yeah.
We'll see on Friday. Those new songs. Oh yeah, that's another related question. Are you sometimes surprised by the response that songs get live? Like, you think you've absolutely smashed it, or you think, okay, this is like an okay song and people go berserk, or you think, oh, I've completely smashed it and people go.
Yeah, of course, all the time. I mean, it's always surprising to hear what different people consider their favourite song from the EP, for instance. You know, I have, I like all of them, but of course, and I have kind of my more favoured ones, and often it's the ones that I don't expect people to like as much that they do actually like more, which is interesting.
You just can't tell.
You just can't tell.
You can't. We play tested the album as well. Completely surprised.
You never know.
Really? You like that one? Okay.
Right.
I mean, it's the same as you. I like all of them.
Yeah, of course.
Like, you choose that as a single.
Wow.
All right. Okay. Yeah, it's just the way it goes. And while we're at live concert conversations, hit us with a crazy live performance, or shocking, or terrifying live performance. There must be one you'd get around.
Let me think. There was one time when I was in my 20s, about 24, and I played, I think, my first open mic night, which was a very daunting experience. And I was playing one of the songs from the EP, was Spirits, actually.
Oh, right.
It's quite slow. It's quite, sounds almost like kind of
safe
like,
number. You don't have to worry about. Yeah. Okay.
But I, at the time I loved it. I was like, oh, I've got this great song, I'm going to play it. So I was playing Spirits anyway, and I was singing it. I wasn't particularly performance ready, and I was in Camden, it's open mic night, and there was these two guys on a table not far away, and they started shouting, "Heard it before, it's rubbish, stop playing." And there was barely anybody there, so I could hear everything they were saying, and I just, at that time I had no idea how to deal with hecklers, so I just kind of carried on, and my girlfriend at the time, my brother, were sitting not far from me, and I was just going, just carry on, just keep playing. So I finished the song anyway. And I came off stage, and I was a little bit upset by the situation, and
young fella,
and of course, my girlfriend at the time, my brother, was saying like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It was great, well done." So anyway, we got up to leave, and these two guys were still sitting by the door enjoying their beers after heckling me. So my girlfriend walks up as we're walking out, takes a beer, and just pours it over their heads and goes, "That's for what you did to my boyfriend." And then off we all went and walked out.
Fair dues.
I thought fair dues to her, so there you go.
Girlfriends, take note.
Take note, girlfriends.
You said your then girlfriend. I'm sure the ladies want to know, can they marry you at any point in the near future?
At the moment, and for the near future and for the foreseeable future, I'm taken, I'm afraid.
Hearts are breaking. I'm sorry, ladies. I said I'd ask, but there we go. That's it. Oh, tough times for the ladies out there. Oh, man. Did that. You are involved in a project that I find super interesting, and I've talked to you a number of times about, and I keep meaning to come to, and I've so far completely failed so to do, the Vienna Songwriting Circle. I'm hugely pleased that something like this exists.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Tell the world a bit about that, please.
It was started by three friends, myself, Stuart Neville and Shayna Friel, and we just were three singer-songwriters who met in Vienna. We wanted to get together and in a group and just talk about songwriting, which we did as a trio, and slowly people started to join the group, and we started to gain more structure to the meetings. We do improvised singing. We often have a guest speaker at the meetings. We talk about songs. We play songs. We critique songs, and we co-write together. We've actually released our first co-write from the Circle sessions. We released that back in November, I believe. And yeah, it's going from strength to strength. We've got a really great group of core members. It's at Yet's Bar. It's the second Wednesday of every month.
Cool. I shall put a link in the description as well
Please
for that,
do, yeah.
in case people are interested.
Come down.
My question is, scenario. I'm a young songwriting person. I got a couple of songs that I'm a little bit shaky about, really uncertain of. Is the Songwriting Circle the sort of place that I can take my first songwriting attempts to? What will happen to me when I go there and play my new babies in front of an audience, possibly for the first time? I'm just making my first forays into songwriting.
Of course.
What will happen to me?
I mean, it's a very safe environment. So, we've had many first-time singer-songwriters down who have all really enjoyed the experience and have all gotten a lot out of it. So,
did you make any of them cry?
No one's cried yet.
There you
which
go,
is fantastic.
guys.
So,
Brilliant.
yeah, it's a good safe environment to come down and just learn from other songwriters who are more experienced, from some who are less experienced, and just talk about songs and talk about the craft.
Good. And I would encourage you, viewers, even if you think your songs are not that good, consider going anyway, because you can make them better by having them critiqued by someone. I think you should have all listened to the EP by now, because we did the freeze frame especially for that purpose. Mark knows what he's talking about. Shane also knows what he's talking about. Who else is there?
And Stuart.
He also knows what he's talking about. So you've got the core members. I think it's a super useful experience for people who want to get into songwriting, even if you're not thinking about going pro, right? Songwriting, making music, it's a really life-enriching thing. Mm-hmm. And I think the world would be a better place if more people had the courage to start just trying to do it. Like, even trying to do it and doing a terrible job is a really useful, I think, life-enhancing experience. And I think you'd agree with me that people should just give it a crack. And
give it a crack, 100%.
Just need your basic chords.
Definitely.
I mean, you don't like them, but other people, just G, D, A and A minor, maybe E minor, you're away. Yeah. So, on that note, yes, the time says we should begin wrapping things up. Let's plug our gig again.
Next Friday, 19th January, Cramladen.
Yeah, man.
Mark Peters supporting Charlywood for the album release party.
Yeah. So you're probably going to start around 8, I guess. Be there at 8 to be on the safe side. You don't want to miss Mark. Don't be a fool. And then Charlywood are also going to play We'll Try Ever So Hard, because it's the album release. So see how these new songs go down. I'll probably mention it if it's the first time that we've played it live. Cool. So you're going to play for us. We'll cut away from that because the camera's about to run out of footage. So we'll do a sexy fade in, maybe do you a nice bit of black and white.
Lovely.
Zoom in on your face so people can see the feels happening as you're singing. Okay, stick around for that, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next Charlytalk.
Let this be known to your grandson. There's this picture showing you alone. Peace. Tell him I was never destined to be great. Did you feel when the plane jumped? It's this fear of flight, it's holding me aloft. It's never choice or fate, but certainty of chaos. And I've accepted Failure is my friend. Failure I'll defend. Failure is my friend. Did I disappoint you? Saw it written on your gravestone. Did you leave elated? Were you contemplating your loss of loves and love? Was it you or me who said we would prevail? It's on your conscience. Failure is my friend. Failure I'll defend. On failure we depend. Oh, failure.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching. Please don't forget to drop us a like and a subscribe and leave a comment letting us know what you thought of the video and if there's any other aspects of the music making process that you'd be interested in hearing about. We'll make the videos that you want to see. See you next time. Thanks again.